Welcome to Buddha Stirs My Coffee, episode number 9. This is my 5th day on the Camino de Santiago from Palas de Rei to Melide. Well, it's about 8:45 in the morning, and I'm just leaving Palas de Rei, and got to walk along a busy street here for a while. And we gotta say goodbye to the local pilgrim statue here, the monument to the Camino, and start. Well, I've only been walking about 10 minutes, and already I'm basically out of the city and into the suburbs. So hopefully, I'm looking forward to this walk. It shouldn't be too bad. There aren't a lot of big hills, at least as far as I can tell on the topo map, but I don't know whether I'm inadequate in reading topo maps or whether relatively slight grades appear more monumental when you're on these kind of treks. Regardless, looking forward to today. It's a pretty day, and I'll tune back in again in an hour or two, see what kind of progress I've made. Well, I've been walking for 2.5 hours, decided to stop and get a cafe con leche, and sat in this little garden here alongside the road, alongside the Camino. Very pleasant way to spend a little bit of time and get your feet off the ground for a few minutes. Well, we're back up and running. Well, the Camino crosses 3 river valleys over the first couple hours of this trek today, and every time there's a river, there's a hill going down to it and a hill coming back up. So we did run across several hills, none of which were devastating, but it was unexpected, and I guess this is something I'm just going to have to expect for the whole route. On this stage of the Camino, there really is a lot of cafes and restaurants. Just about every 1.5 2 kilometers, you run across either a small town with several of them or a cafe in the middle of nowhere. So it's relatively easy to stop and get something to eat or drink. It's 11:30. I've just passed Campanella, which means I've done just about 6 miles in 3 hours. I've got, by my best calculation, and all my calculations seem to be off a little bit, I think I've got 5 miles to go. I might have 6. It depends on the vicissitudes of the pathway. Anyway, I'm feeling good. No real problems. I think I'll make it. There's a place up ahead, about a mile out, that is highly recommended. So I think I'll stop there and at least have a cafe con leche, maybe a little something to eat. Over and out. Another hill, of course. It's interesting, this road. On one side there are oaks, and on the other, eucalyptus, giant stand of eucalyptus. So kind of interesting. Well, as you can see, it's now downhill, but I'm catching up with a lot of groups. As you can see in front of me, there's a group of maybe 30 or 35. Practically no one behind me, just singles and doubles. So I'm not sure where these very large groups are coming from. I heard from one of the pilgrims that there's a, I forget who it is, National Geographic or one of the big companies does these tours of the Camino, whereby they take you by bus from section to section, and you walk not very far, maybe 3 or 4 miles, and the bus picks you back up again and carts you to the end of the next section, and you do it over again. So I don't know if they do the whole Camino or just sections of it, but this might be one of those situations. Well, there's no accident. There's a taxi sign here. I think this is kind of a breaking point for a lot of people. It's 3/4 of the way into the trek, and people might end up calling a cab. Well, a little disappointment here. I thought I was entering Melide. I had the end of my journey, but it was a little village just before. So I had another mile and a half, actually about a mile and a half, to get into the city of Melide. And to add insult to injury, the last kilometer or so going into Melide was all uphill on just a hot, dusty road. Finally in Melide, and this is one of the largest towns on the route, and loaded with pilgrims, including school children who come through in groups. Passed a nice little church on the way in, and finally got to my hotel, the Lux Melide Hotel. Thank you for watching. This was my day 5 on the Camino de Santiago. Please subscribe, it's free, and don't forget to hit the little like button at the bottom.